What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And so I ran across a video, right, about Dame Dash, and it's let me see, Dame Dash preaches ownership, right, and it discusses how Dame Dash preached ownership, but now he's basically he's broke or close to being broke, right? And I've been saying a long time ago, like Dame Dash is the kind of person he's very arrogant and very brash. And I remember hearing a what was it? A saying or a statement when I was young, like when I was younger, and it was stay out of his face and off his mind, right? And so Dame Dash, I think, is a very good businessman, but he put himself in a position where he made himself a target. And sometimes you can have enemies that you're not even aware of. So you definitely don't want to make yourself a target. Now you have enemies, that you're aware of, but then the worst ones are the ones that you're not aware of because it's hard to prepare for somebody that you don't even know that they exist. And I think that's part of Dame Dash's situation. Like all this bragging and all of this, all this talking about how much he had and all this stuff, and the fact that he preached ownership. I think to some people, the people that are really out to ruin Damon Dash, I think that this is really just a game to them, and they just want to, and it's all about humiliating Dame Dash. If Dame Dash had to took his money and just kept quiet about it, then I think I certainly doubt that Dame Dash would be in the situation that he's in. When even when you think about rich people, they don't seek the spotlight. Think about the Waltons, right? The family who own Walmart. They are worth multiple of billions of dollars, but you don't hear these people, right? And they're billionaires. So why don't they have, like, why they're not going around and doing interviews and all this stuff? Because they know that they don't need that type of attention. Then you think about like the Rockefellers, right? Everybody, most people have heard of the Rockefellers, but most people don't know what they look like. People don't even probably know what the Waltons look like. Though the Walton family, members of that family, most people keep a low profile, right? And so if they have to keep a low profile or choose to keep a low profile, then somebody like Dame Dash, he should follow that lead. Definitely, well, he should have followed that lead. So what I want to do is play this some of the audio from this video. It's from the let me see, Unsolved Mogul, and it says Dame Dash preached ownership. And I'm gonna play some of it, the audio, and then I'm gonna come back and give my input.
Dame Dash spent years telling people the most important thing in business was ownership.
Fired. Can somebody tell you fired? Can somebody tell you fired? Yes or no? Can another man say you're fired?
Absolutely.
No one can tell me that. And that's priceless to me.
Then his 1/3 stake in Rockefeller was optioned for $1 million.
So the auction happened yesterday, and basically no one showed up.
His film company.
All right, first, all right, before we go any further, let me address the statement that he said, can somebody tell you that you're fired, right? Now, I own my own business. I'm a contractor, right? And I own my own business. But even if you are a contractor and you're self-employed, you still work for people in the public. And that don't mean that you can make statements like, nobody can fire me, because everybody can get fired. Even if you're a franchise owner and you own like a McDonald's, there's certain things that you can do to get fired. There was a guy. What was the guy? What's his name? Donald Sterling, who owned an NBA team, right? He got, they let him go. They made him sell the team. What was it? The Los Angeles Clippers, right? So there's still some things that you can do to, no matter how much money you make, you can get fired, or you can be relieved of duties, or somebody can make you sell your team. because the market that everybody operate in is based on you got to be able to cooperate and get along with people, or they can basically cut the faucets off and you won't be able to do business, right? And so Dame Dash, especially being a minority, right? And some people don't want to see him make the kind of money that he was making. He should have really just kept a low profile, allowed what's the guy named Jay-Z to be out in front, allow him to be the face of everything, just stayed in the background, and but this brashness, like other people can't affect your money. It's just not true. I don't care how far you go up the level, as far as an entrepreneur, how much money you make, other people can affect your money. And that's what I think people are playing with him now. They're suing him. Every time they think he might have something, they bring up a new lawsuit to make sure that Dame Dash don't have anything. No such thing as generational wealth. You won't be able to pass, you won't be able to pass anything on to your kids. It's just a situation that's just crazy.
Later sold at auction for $100.50.
If it has no value, who cares? So what I'm saying is this was a company that was 20 years ago, right? Like literally 2015 that had no assets in it, not an LLC, it wasn't a movie company. No movie went through that.
He filed Chapter 7, listing more than $25 million in liabilities and only $4,350 in assets.
Well, you filed Chapter 7, bankruptcy in Florida, owing over $25 million while reporting almost no assets.
But the real reason why I filed is because Chris Brown
Right.
and his conspirators allegedly conspired to keep suing me, and almost to the point of obsession. To the extent that in this moment, even when I'm filing, they're still suing, saying that I have more assets than I claimed.
And now a bankruptcy trustee is trying to.
So look, that's one of the tactics that they use too. To, if you haven't done anything illegal, or they can just still keep suing you and taking you to civil court, making you pay for lawyers and stuff like that, right? And so I can't preach enough like how it is that, how important it is to keep a low profile. Even people in the neighborhood, like if you might have a drug dealer, you can have two drug dealers. The one with the flashy car and all the jewelry, and you know what I mean? He have a bunch of girlfriends and stuff like that. That's the first one. He's usually the first one to go. And so, and every once in a while, you'll find you'll hear about a guy who nobody even knew about, and they'll probably be the last ones to go, or maybe sometimes they don't get caught at all, right? But you definitely, if you flashy and you flamboyant and stuff like that, you're gonna be the number. You make yourself a target, and basically that's what what this guy did. I think that, like I said, he has enemies that he's not even aware of, because as soon as you start bragging about, I'm the boss and I'm this and that, some people just see that as a challenge and just want to take you down. And I think the powers that be are really just playing with his life, because they're trying to break him. They're trying to just, break his spirits.
Sell rights tied to Dame's own life story with a $37,000 opening bid.
Buy your life rights, okay, before we do.
Yeah, if you got $5 million, but
go buy your life rights.
Salute to Dame.
Pay off your debt. Well, I'm making a serious inquiry about purchasing his life rights. I am interested in purchasing the OG story.
I got a couple dollars.
And see, that's crazy, and that's how it is. They can buy your life rights. It's so, business is so crazy that what was the guy, Steve Jobs, the guy who owned Apple, right? He got the one time he got voted out of his own company, the company that he started, Apple, the iPhones and all that stuff. Steve Jobs got voted out of that company. And that's not the first, that's more common than we realize, because once you bring on a company and you go public and you have shareholders and board members and stuff like that, they can take your company from you, right? So I don't understand why, while Dame Dash, he didn't realize this. Once you start dealing at that level and you're around people who just had that type of business savvy and stuff like that. They know how to get things out of you. Women try, women go at athletes all the time, athletes and actors and entertainers, trying to get money out of them. So you are a target, right? But when you dare people and you play in the face of these evil forces, man, this is what happened. And Dame Dash definitely made himself a target. And now you have people or enforcers behind the scene that he's probably not even aware of. They just playing with his life. They playing with his legacy. To them, it's a joke. Because Dame Dash, if they don't want you to make any money, then you won't make any money. And that's the sad, and that's the truth. And Dame Dash is finding that out the hard way. Like I said, it don't really matter how much of a genius you are as a businessman. The most genius thing you could do is to keep a low profile. And Dame didn't do that. He dared, and he played in the faces of people who just didn't really probably want to see him have anything in the first place. And now look at what he's going through. Other people talking about buying his life rights, man. It's just a crazy situation. And it's a situation that he could have, once you make the money, you got to find ways to keep the money. And he spent, and he thought that he had a formula for making money, but then people just stopped that formula. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like, subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, man, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video. Peace.